Alright, this is just gonna have to be a point and shoot and upload. I'm in my car, so I want to give you an update. Alright, just came back from the doctor. That's the makeup. I don't like to do videos without the makeup, so that's why the makeup. Okay, let me give you a quick rundown of what happened. About the end of last summer, I went and saw the nurse practitioner for the guy who treats my spinal pain. I said, this little joint hurts right here. And she said, well, maybe it's carpal tunnel. Let's go have you do some carpal tunnel studies. So I went to the neurologist like in September, and she did the studies, and she did the left one, and she goes, oh, this is really bad. You're going to have surgery. So she does the right one. Oh, this one's really bad. You're going to have surgery. So I asked her to look at the cubital tunnel on one of them. She goes, oh, it's fine. So I wait 5 weeks to see the hand surgeon. I saw him in the late 90s for repetitive stress, and he was just really good. So I wanted to go back to him, so I waited 5 weeks to see him. He gets in there, he does an A1C in his office, and my blood sugar is way too high. He said, you got to get this down before we can operate. So between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I got it down like record speed. Nobody could imagine I dropped it so low. In fact, the day of the surgery on this hand, the carpal tunnel on this hand, my blood sugar was almost too low to operate. Sorry. That's really funny to me. So I went and I had the surgery. And he said, oh, we have a cancellation tomorrow. You want to have it tomorrow? And I said, yeah, because this won't give me time to get all worked up and anxious about it. So, yeah. You need to call my spine guy and tell him because of the pain management, because I've been on the lowest dose of morphine there is, 3 of them a day for the neck all the way down to all the problems you've heard me discuss before on my spine. So it's been that exact same dosage for 2 years. So I have the surgery done January 4th, and he's supposed to put a block in, and in the operating room, as they're wrapping the dressing, that's when I started feeling the pain. So I'm aggravated because he was supposed to put the block in. Well, he says he did put the block in. It just didn't work. So, and he was going to write me some Percocets on top of, because there's a 2-inch incision right here. This scar will be important in a minute. That scar and then that scar. So I get in the recovery room. Oh, you can't have any. Your spine guy said you couldn't have any more medication, just the morphine. And I thought, well, holy living hell. Here, this isn't supposed to be hurting, and it's hurting in the recovery room. It started hurting in the operating room, and a 2-inch incision, and nothing. So I went home. I was devastated. I tried to cope. I tried to call the doctors. One doctor says, no, you got to write it. The other doctor says, no, you got to write it. And nobody was writing it. And I was laying in the bed suffering. So now it's time for the left one to be done. I see the hand surgeon. But I tell him, I'm having a lot of numbness in this elbow. He said, well, you got to get a cubital nerve conduction study before we'll operate on the carpal tunnel on your right hand, because the cubital, I want to do it at the same time. The cubital can be a 2 to 3 inch incision on the elbow, plus the carpal tunnel. And this one, I mean, they had the dressing on this one for 2 weeks, and normally it's just like 2 days. So I can't even imagine how hard this is going to be to do. And I see the hand surgeon on Wednesday. Okay, so I saw the spinal guy now. I said, look, your office would not let me have the Percocet. I'm really upset with you. And he said, that was the summary. I'm really upset about this, and I'm not going to have this surgery until we get this cleared up, because that's what I told the hand surgeon too. Why didn't you, how could you leave me like that? And then I finally got into the spinal guy today. I did see him 3 weeks ago when he did injections in my back, but he gives you so much Ativan that you don't remember what you're saying. You're not coherent and all this. So, he pulls us aside when I said something about the pain management for the surgery, and I remember looking at him, so I can have the pain, I can have the few little Percocets from the hand surgeon on top of this lowest dose morphine that I have been on for 2 years. And he says in that meeting a few weeks ago, yes, you can. Well, so when I went in for my drug screen 3 weeks ago, it took 4 hours to get the prescription signed. He went off to lunch. In the meantime, my blood sugar's dropping like this, and Randy took off time from work to go with me, and I had a break. I had a nuclear breakdown in the waiting room. So I went to talk to his office manager in the X-ray room when we discussed this, and I was blah 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 blah, and then your office told me, your front staff told me that I could not have any pain medicine for the surgery. And then Dr. Edwards came back and said I could have all along. And the office manager said, oh, no, you couldn't. No, that surgeon had to write the morphine and the additional medication. The surgeon's point was, no, we don't write morphine for this and I'll get in trouble with the DEA if they start seeing me writing morphine for carpal tunnel. Okay. All right. So I had 2 very caring doctors telling me two separate things. So I go to the doctor now. I know that the hand surgeon's going to want to do the cubital and the carpal. That's going to be the next scheduled surgery. And like I said, it's going to be big time, especially for me. And so I wanted to clear it with my spinal guy this morning. He said, yeah, we discussed this. You could have whatever he's going to write you on top of the morphine. I said, well, okay, I know you said that when I was Ativan'd up, but then your office manager told me that I couldn't. And now you're telling me that I can. And he said, yeah, I'm telling you that you can. So now I go back to the surgeon on Wednesday and said, okay, I could have had the Percocets all along. And see, I called his office I called both offices after the surgery. I need help. And both of them said, no, their offices said, no, we're not helping you. So on top of that, I've got a floater in this eye. It's a big floater. And who knows, my luck, the retina will be detached or something stupid. I can hardly drive. I kept thinking, well, my glasses are dirty. I'll just keep washing them. And then I noticed this morning, it's not going to, no. So I see the ophthalmologist at 7:45 in the morning. And then I see the surgeon at 1:30 or 11:30, probably 1:30 by the time I see him on Wednesday. Friday, I have to go back for the drug screen and get my morphine. And so I still have to go to the sleep center. I have to go back to the dentist and get a crown put on over here. I mean, I just don't know. I just feel totally, and coloring is a big stress reliever, and they're fixing to take that away with my right hand. I'm going to see if I can learn to write with this hand. I don't know how that's going to go. I said I'm going to put a watercolor brush in my mouth and learn to paint watercolor with my mouth. So, whatever. So, I won't be able to color. So, what did I do to make myself feel better? I ordered 4 more coloring books from Amazon. Like, that was going to really help. I already have 30, at least. Okay. So, I've got all this new content planned. Like, I've got the peach palette on my eyes. I got Anastasia brow thing. I got 3 high-end brow products because some of you know that I got pomade or whatever in this eye and almost went blind a year and a half ago. I had to go to the emergency room to get it all flushed because I had this wax in my eye. That was the whole thing. September of 2016. So, yeah. And then last week we were camping. I haven't put up that video yet. But we were camping, and we're right on the Tennessee River. I mean, you can see the Tennessee River right from our campsite. And we're expecting bad storms that night, but nobody said the word tornado until the tornado sirens start going like this in the campsite, which means you better get the hell out of this trailer as quickly as possible. So we did that. We got us and the 2 dogs out, and then the park ranger was going all through the, the roads where all the, things are, trying to make sure everybody's out. And what you do is you go to the bathhouse with a bunch of strangers, and so you're going to die. And so you're in this kind of making weird conversation, small talk with a bunch of strangers that you could possibly be dying with. The tornado could just, swoop you away. So that was fun. One day, though, I did get to ride my tricycle through the campground. And then one day, it got down to freezing, and we didn't know if the pipes were going to freeze and we're going to make it home. I mean, I don't know. I've got a beautiful dogwood blooming out here, and it was 33 degrees out here this morning, and the dogwood is in full bloom. So, I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. Now, I do have content, and I think that I will take you along for this next surgery, and so you can hear all about my adventures with doctors. But do you like my peach eyeshadow? If it's not on right, it's because I got a floater in this eye and can't see. And I still have my hair. It's just up there. It's just all up there. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so the other thing I do to unwind is I listen to Elvis. This Jeep came with Sirius radio. I didn't know about Sirius, and it had an Elvis channel. And so this Jeep is 6 years old, but it only has 27,000 miles. And every 27,000 miles, except for the ones that my kids or husband took out occasionally once in a while, this Sirius radio station has been tuned to Elvis radio, 24/7 Elvis. I listen to 24/7. I listen to Elvis when I'm getting dressed, when I'm putting my makeup on, when I'm going to the doctor, when I'm in the car. He is the soundtrack to my life. And I'm going to tell you a little spoiler. Shh, don't tell my mother, because I promised I wouldn't talk about this. But she remembers being in the car with Elvis, and they're driving down what's now Elvis Presley Boulevard. And Elvis turns and says, "I just bought that place." And nobody in the car paid any attention to it because it was dark over there. The runway lights weren't out in the, out there yet. So nobody was real, "Oh, okay, great, Elvis." And then the conversation went on. So anyway, I have loved Elvis my whole life. My whole life. I'll tell you one more Elvis thing. I could probably tell you one more Elvis thing for every day for the rest of my life. And so this video will probably cut off, and I'll still be talking about Elvis Presley. Not you, Elvis. No, not you. No, not you. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the real Elvis Presley. Okay, he wore on his big gold thing, belt, whatever it was, ornament, I can't think of the name, belt buckle. So he at some points carried a gun down there because he had got credible death threats in Las Vegas, so much so that the International Hotel that was built just for him basically told him that he didn't have to perform because these were really credible death threats. And Red West, his football buddy that saved him from being beat up in the boys' room in the high school because Elvis dressed so flamboyantly, he was still wearing purple, jackets, and his hair was up like, flipped up like this, and had acne, and so Red West saved him in the bathroom from some other football players who they were going to cut his hair or something. So he and Red West were buddies all up until the end. Red West is one of those that wrote that tell-all that upset Elvis so much the last of his year of his life. But Red was really just trying to save his life. Red just died a few months ago, and his cousin Sonny died a few months before that, and they were like the main bodyguards. So anyway, Red and Sonny are off on the sides of the stage, and Elvis has the pistol in his gold belt buckle. So that's two Elvises. Next time I'll tell you about what happened when two girls had themselves mailed to Graceland. We'll do that story next because that one's fresh in my mind. All right, been talking about this too much, so stay with me. And Rosie and Jen, I want to say something to you. I feel like I get in your chats and I kind of dive bomb with all of these, outrageous things, and more so, I think, than what I've shared on here. Just really outrageous things that none of you would even have a clue about. And I feel like I get in there and I say something outrageous, like I stood behind the desk, the president's desk in the Oval Office. Nobody else was in the office but me. Now, who gets to do that? Who gets to do that? There's a bunch of stories like that I'll just tell. One of my past lives, I worked at a defense contractor here, and even had a high-level clearance, a couple of them. One of them I signed that if I divulged the information that I could be hung or something. I mean, just so anyway, there's that. But I've also worked at the International Monetary Fund. Now, who would believe one person? I know they think that I'm absolutely histrionic, or that I'm, I got to be making this stuff up. This can't happen, but it does. It has happened to me, and most of it I just can't talk about. So there's that. But I'm going to talk about the surgeries, and you're coming along with me. I got all kinds of products I want to review. I got all kinds of everything. Oh, and if you color, please go over to Facebook to Matronista Colors and put your pictures on there. I really need for that to be built up, especially while my coloring hand is out of commission. I also have a closed group there, Matronista Coloring Club. You can find me there too. That's the main places. Okay, I think even I've run out of things to say. Okay, hope to see you in the next one. Maybe I won't be so frenetic. I hope. I had one boss tell me, you make more facial expressions than anybody I've ever known. And I didn't. My mom used to always tell me that everything I thought came across my forehead like a ticker, like a marquee. And I guess that's what he was talking about. All right, everybody. I will see you in the next one, and you be ready for carpal cubital tunnel surgery on the right. And then she told me that I would need it on the left too. So anyway, there's that. I've had over 25 surgeries. In 1999, I had to have my gallbladder removed in January. I got pneumonia from that. I had to have foot surgery in March. That was the most painful surgery. And then 3 weeks after that, I had to have my ovaries removed. 3 months. So I had 3 surgeries, just wham, bam, bam. And up until then, I had like 1 surgery a year. So I've had over 25 surgeries. So I guess what I'm doing is I'm making up for all those lost years where I didn't have surgery, because my last surgeries were in 99. But now in this time, there's this carpal, this, and who knows what else. Plus all the injections in my spine. All right, now you're caught up. All right, I can't think of anything else to say. Okay, bye.